When you are so afraid of losing someone that you cling to them out of fear, that you hold on to them hoping that they won't abandon you, do you know what happens? You will unintentionally start to lose yourself little by little in the process. Hi guys, it's Joy. Welcome back. If you're new to here, hello. In this video, I am going to be talking about how sometimes, most of the time actually, when you are chasing someone to the point where you fear so badly that they will abandon you, that fear will start to override your authenticity. It will start to override your loyalty to your own values, to your boundaries, to your sense of self, and to your sense of peace, and sometimes even your own needs. And you will end up neglecting yourself because being attached to this person has become more important to you. It happens very subtly sometimes in the moments where you say yes, when deep down you actually want to say no, or when you are overgiving all the time, overcompensating, over-accommodating, over-explaining to someone so that you can keep them around in your life, or when you tolerate breadcrumbs because you're scared they'll leave and you'll never get anything better and you think this is the best you are going to get, or when you stay quiet to preserve the peace and to guarantee the connection will still be there instead of speaking up, being authentic and speaking your truth when you feel that someone has actually overstepped a boundary of yours. Everything that you do now revolves around one goal, and that is to keep them in your life. And the truth about this is that this will even cost you yourself. This will cost you your own truth. This will cost you your own authenticity. This fear and being driven by this fear has literally rewired your brain so that everything you do is to keep them in your life, even at the cost of yourself. And guess what? That is no longer love, but that is actually survival. Love cannot thrive in fear. Well, it can, but that's how it becomes a toxic relationship or unfulfilling relationship. You want a type of loving relationship where the love can flow back and forth and it feels expansive. It actually feels good to be in, not one where you are constantly worrying about the outcome or the other person all the time. That is not love, that is survival. And you know what ends up happening? You become a watered down version of yourself, like a star that dims her light or like a flower that refuses to bloom. And you end up performing for them because what you are showing to them is essentially a very, very filtered version of yourself that walks around eggshells and does everything that she thinks she can do and say so that they will find more meaning to be with her. They will find more reason to be with her. They will stay in her life. And she is committed to preserving that person's connection in her life, even at the cost of her own truth. And I also want to be real with you for a second. It is common. It is a human natural response to feel fear when you think about the possibility of someone that you cherish, someone that you love, threatening to leave you. That is not a weakness. That is simply just part of being human. We are literally wired for connection. From a young age, when we are born into this world, the first thing we do is try to attach to a mother or father or adult figure because that is our way of surviving. Our safety and survival have literally depended on other people when we were a child. So of course it hurts. Of course it feels scary when there's a chance that someone that we are attached to might walk away. And for some people, this fear actually runs a lot deeper, a lot more intense. And it's not because they're broken or anything, but it's simply because of maybe past lived experiences. They know what it's like for someone to leave them. They know what it's like to be abandoned. And they know the pain that comes with that. And so everything that they do is to prevent that from happening again. And so it makes sense as to why this fear might feel so strong and intense. Maybe you have literally been abandoned before. Maybe love has always been something that you have had to fight for. It has always been something that you had to earn and struggle and compete for. It has never just fallen into your lap just by breathing and existing. Maybe it's felt chaotic and unstable and uncertain in one period of your life before. So the threat of disconnection, of no longer having that person around, that doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It literally feels like a threat for these people. And it's a very visceral feeling in the body. It's not something that you consciously can even control sometimes, because your body is reacting before your conscious mind is even able to step in. And you can feel the fear in your body before you become consciously aware of it. And that is how wired your brain and your body is, to trying to keep you and protect you from that reality of being abandoned again. And that's when the fear starts to override the sense of self. You start to bend your back backwards, you start to shift, you start to change and perform just so you can keep this person close, even if it means losing a part of who you are in the process. And that is probably the saddest part, because little by little, it happens so gradually. You will start to lose pieces of yourself, and these pieces of yourself are so precious, are so valuable. They are what make you you, they are what make you unique, and they are the parts that make you shine. Yet you are giving these parts of you up just so that you can stay attached to this person. And this is where the self-abandonment begins. Not because we're weak, but because we are just trying to keep ourselves safe. But this is also where the work begins as well. The work isn't to get rid of that fear completely or even shut it off, but it's actually to learn how to be with yourself in the moment that these fears arise in your body. How can you be present with yourself, with that part of you that is so scared that this person is going to leave? How can you even learn to love this part of you that is terrified of this person leaving and losing this person? I will say it again, this is not about getting rid of the fear. That is a very idealistic type of mentality to have, because fear is just part of being human. It's not right or wrong. It's not bad. Well, it can be very unproductive and unhelpful when you are living from fear all the time, but ultimately the fear is there to try and protect you. But you also have to recognize you have free will to not act from that place of fear and choose differently. And so the work comes down to being with yourself when that fear of abandonment comes up. Because what most of us try to do is we will blindly follow that fear in the moment that it comes up. We will follow it. Let us drive our actions, our decisions from that place of fear, without even questioning it. And that's how we end up abandoning ourselves. We choose the fear over being with ourselves, over staying present and working through it. What happens when I do this work with clients is that they no longer act from that place of fear, because they have learned how to be secure within themselves. When you don't abandon yourself, the thought of someone else abandoning you, I promise you, that will feel less scary. It might still feel scary, but it will feel a lot less scary when you can stand in your own truth, you can stand in your own worth, and you do not neglect yourself in times of chaos and uncertainty and fear, because now you trust yourself. It won't feel like the end of the world, because you are now choosing having relationships from a place of wholeness, from a place of expansiveness and love, rather than fear, which is a very contracting and shrinking type of energy. And from this place of wholeness, the type of people and relationships and connections you will also call in and attract into your life will also be much more fulfilling than the ones you call in from a place of not feeling like you're enough, or feeling fearful or doubtful or anxious. When you unlock this feeling of wholeness and completeness within you, you will no longer abandon yourself and neglect yourself just to be with someone else, just for someone else's presence and company. Why? Because you are no longer emotionally deprived of your own love and care. When you are deprived of your own love and care, guess what happens? You put other people's love and care on a pedestal. You see it as the ultimate fantasy, and you will lose yourself just to have that. And that's just an illusion, because like I said, comes from within. Lasting fulfillment will always come from within. When you access that feeling, that state of wholeness and completeness within you, That is when you are able to say, I still have me, even if things go south. I know I'm going to be okay. I know it won't be the end of the world. And I know at least I have my own back and I trust myself to get through it and to emerge stronger and better. That is what true security looks like. Not control, not needing to predict every single possible outcome that there is in this connection. It's knowing that you won't collapse if someone leaves. So if you are watching this right now, let this be an invitation to come home to yourself. Come home to yourself, because there is no greater loss than the loss you experience when you lose yourself just to stay attached to someone else who cannot even give you that in the moment. There is no greater loss compared to when you abandon yourself. Because you are the treasure, you are the prize, yet you are abandoning your own uniqueness and specialness and authenticity and what makes you you, everything that makes you valuable. You are ditching that aside, and then you are instead obsessing over this other person, keeping yourself distracted from your own value by being lost in someone else and trying to cling to them, keep them close to you. And here's the thing no one will also tell you when you cling to someone out of fear. You actually are not loved for who you really are. You are loved for the version of yourself that has been watered down, that has been quieted her needs just to keep the peace, the version of you that has pushed aside her boundaries just to make them comfortable, the version of you that is walking on eggshells because she doesn't want to threaten the connection, the version of you that shrinks her truth just to avoid rocking the boat, or the version of you that says it's fine when it's really not fine. You are loved for a perfectly curated version of yourself that you have presented to the other person in hopes that they might accept you. But the truth is you've already rejected yourself because you have told yourself unconsciously that you are not going to be loved unless you are performing in this very specific way. And that is a very sad reality that I do not want you to be living in, because I want you to be loved for who you really are, in your rawness, in your authenticity, in your messiness, even when you have bad days, even when you aren't able to show up for yourself. Keeping someone around with this filtered version of yourself comes at a huge cost, and you become more focused on preserving this connection than actually honoring yourself in it. Because isn't that the ultimate goal, to still be able to honor yourself in a relationship and also have the other person honor you, and you also honoring the other person too? And even if you do manage to keep that person in your life, even if they stay because of the performance that you've put on for them, even if they stay through this convenient version of yourself that you have handed yourself on a plate to them on, you will still feel lonely. You will still feel like you are not truly seen. And that is the saddest part, because you are literally taking away the opportunity for yourself to be loved in your rawness, in your full glory. Because actually deep down, they probably don't even know who you truly are. They only know the version of yourself that you have watered down, that you have come to a conclusion on who you should be through the overthinking, through the scheming, through the predicting the outcomes and the overthinking and the anxiety. You think, okay, this is who I should be so that they can stay with me. This is who I should be so that they will love me. But this version of yourself isn't even true to who you are. And so this person doesn't even know who you are because you have never been able to show them that. They only know this filtered version of yourself that you have been wearing to keep them close by. So it's a lose-lose. So if you're watching this, this is your invitation. Come home to yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know what you thought of it in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!